So they're making sure everybody's got a phone, everybody's got a tracking device on them. And everything you do on your phone can be recalled, every action you take on your phone can be recalled. Your phones track you everywhere you go, they listen to everything you do, they report everything you do. Even half of the cell towers that you see around the place, half of these towers aren't there to deliver cell signal, they're there to harvest data. There's a bit of a hum, it's all good, I'll stand over here. They're there to harvest data, like every third cell tower you see is there to harvest data from your phone to find out everything you've been doing. So this is where they're taking us, they're leading us into this incredibly dysfunctional digital realm, where all of the stuff that we're normally used to getting is simply not going to be available anymore. So what we have to do is disconnect from that and stop complying with this slavery system that they're rolling out. Because that's really the only way we're going to get away from it, is non-compliance, folks. You know, all the stuff that people have been doing and trying to create movements or whatever, to like the Ubuntu movement or the Venus Project or whatever, new movements to start a new culture, what we have to realise is that this is our culture and it's been hijacked. All of our societies have been hijacked by what is essentially a worldwide criminal cabal masquerading as an international government system. And all these people work together. They all work together. There are no real enemies on the world. You know, I've travelled to over 108 countries in my life. I've been right around the world many times. I've seen lots of people from lots of countries. I've never met anybody who wanted a war. It's all governments who want to do this all the time. It's governments who control the whole situation. And they play everybody off against each other, and they all work together. And that's something we've got to realise, is that we're dealing with a multinational criminal cabal. And the only reason they get away with what they're doing is because we continually comply with our own enslavement, and we have to simply disconnect from it, stop complying with it. And the best form of non-compliance is to step into your heart. It really is. You know, if you obey your moral compass in everything you do, then the system can't do anything for you. It can't control you, because you continually have to step outside your moral compass to abide legislation all the time. And I just refuse to do that. You know, in creating your own reality, I've always created my own reality. My whole reality has been mine ever since I left school. You know, when I was in school, I realised how much the teachers were just fucking me over. You know, I used to tell them that all the time. Excuse me, what you're teaching me is shit. You know, they used to come and give me stuff and I'd say, I'm sorry, but I've just read a book on that topic and you're telling us a completely wrong story and you need to open it up for debate. So I ended up getting kicked out of 4 schools. So by the time I was like 16, I thought, well, fuck this. And I became a musician and travelled the world and never looked back. But I've created my own reality, and I don't believe in commerce, and it's a hard thing here for a cryptocurrency conference, and you know, everyone's sort of, what do they call it, anarcho-capitalists. I personally don't, I'm not a capitalist, I don't believe in that mentality. I mean, in this world, I can appreciate you've got to make money, you've got to survive, but everything I do, I give. I wrote a book, I gave it away. I do videos, I give them away. All the movies I make, I give away. Everything I do, I give away for free. I serve medicine to people, I give it away for free. And I allow people to give me back what they can. And people who are constantly in a state of worry about money and worry about the future and worry about this stuff, that's the reality they create. And I live my life in a state of abundance, in a state of giving to everybody that I can. And because I do that, I don't actually want for anything. You know, I'm in a state of abundance all the time because people help me, people guide me, people just do things for me, not because they feel like they're obligated, but just because it's the right thing to do. You know, and I'm not using people, it's just this interaction that happens. And that's the way I've lived my life, and I just sort of bounced around the world, and I've never looked back. I've always done what I wanted to do and been the person that I wanted to be. Because most of the time in our lives, we're not what we want to be. We're doing something that someone else has told us to do. We're following parameters that someone else has given us. We're following guidelines that someone else has put there for us. We're not living our own life. And we're stepping outside our moral compass in every minute of every day in order to put food on the table. We have to stop that. We have to really step back and look at this and realise that it's already a community of people. And if we open up our hearts to each other, in Lakesh, I finish every radio show with in Lakesh, it means I am another yourself. If you can look at people as being yourself, another yourself, simply viewing reality from that perspective, suddenly all the barriers break down between people and you find that you can live your life in a state of abundance and giving. And it isn't a state that you're keeping tabs on what you're giving to people. I just give unconditionally to people. Sometimes, you've got to listen to your intuition. There'll be people that come there and they want to use you. You know that, okay, I shouldn't. What I'm going to give to you is by not giving to you to teach you to be responsible for yourself, which is also a form of giving. So you've got to look at it that way. You've got to balance things out and don't allow yourself to get used by people. But just open up your hearts to people and break the barriers down and stop putting a commercial aspect on everything. Stop putting an economic dollar value on everything that you do and all the time that you have and everything you do for people. I've just done this with my whole life and it's worked. I'm 61 years old. I've never had a real job. I've never done anything the system wanted me to do. I've always just been myself and done what I wanted to do. Any jobs I've had, it's because I wanted to do that. But we're just caught in this grind because of this system, because of the way they've done it. But the whole thing is a concept. The whole thing is just an idea. This reality that they're creating for us, that they've got us in now, it's just an idea. And as soon as we step into this, it all falls apart. It all falls away. Your heart is the most powerful thing. And opening up your heart to people is what will change the world. That's how we can get through this system, by realizing that it's all a fiction. And even people that learn the legal stuff and all the law stuff and how to get through it to go to fight the system, what for? You're fighting a fiction, you're fighting a cloud, you're learning all this stuff to fight a cloud. So how real is it? Why are you learning all this stuff to go and fight something which is just an idea? What you've got to do is just disconnect from it. Disconnect from the whole thing. And the way you do that, again, is to connect to your heart and to connect to the people around you. Because when you do that, government ceases to exist. The whole legal system, everything that we've got here, the government, even the law system was created to prevent the causation of harm and to provide remedy when harm is caused. And we've got situations in our country now where the government is coming and causing harm against us all the time, and they're using the legal system to do it. So how can that be? How can a guy come to your house and say, I'm here to cause harm to you in the name of the law, when the law was put there to prevent the causation of harm? It's all backwards, but we don't call it. And that's why they get away with it, because we don't call it. And we should. And there's lots of reasons why we should, folks. I'm just going to sit down because I've been travelling for 4 days to get here. 4 days, folks, it took to get here. Ridiculous. And I'm old and I like to sit. It's much better sitting. There's a lot of good people here that are trying to get people to open up their hearts and see this system for what it is and see this fiction for what it is. And that's the clue to the whole thing, folks, is understanding that the whole political system is fiction. It's just an idea. They just made it up and they got everybody to go along with it. And it's time we had a new idea. It's really time we had a new idea and put that into practice. And realise that we are the ones we've been waiting for. We are the saviours we've been waiting for. As soon as you open up your heart and connect with people around you, the whole system falls down. It really does. I mean, sometimes the government comes for me at home and I just laugh them off. I just say things to them like, I don't vote. It's compulsory to vote in Australia. You're registered, you've got to vote. And I'm not registered, I don't vote. Sometimes they come to my house and they knock on the door and they say, we believe there's someone who lives here who's not registered to vote. And I go, yeah, that's me. And they get all excited and they pull out their notepad and they go, oh, well, what's your reason for not registering to vote? I just say, I refuse to support organised crime. And they go, they don't know what to do. They don't know what to do. They're shocked when I say that. They just go, do you call yourself a conscientious objector then? And I say, look, you can call me whatever you want. I call it sane. Is there anything else I can do for you? I'm busy. And they go away. They go away. They can't do anything about it. If you just stand in what you are and call it for what it is, then they've got nothing to do. If ever I go into a courtroom, I call the judge by the first name. I go in there and I defend myself and I talk to the judge as a man, call him by his first name. So I'm just here to clear up the matter, because obviously there's been a mistake. You think that I'm subject to all this stuff, which is causing harm, So you've just got to be that, and you've got to be prepared to be that. And if you've got the people around you, if you've opened up your heart to your neighbours and you've connected with people, then it works. It works because you've got the community around you and you're just speaking common sense. That's one of the reasons why my show, I think, has been so successful, my radio show, is because I'm just talking like this. I'm just talking to people in common sense around the kitchen table talk and just telling them basic truths about themselves and about the world and just calling it for what it is, not being politically correct. Political correctness is a form of tyranny, folks. Political correctness is designed to get people policing their own thoughts, and that's where we're going with this smart grid. Because as it all goes into 5G and as it all goes onto the cloud and as it all turns digital and everything's listening to you, everything's voice activated, you've got situations where your clock radio's listening to you, your TV's watching you. There was a guy arrested in Australia a year before last because his fridge was listening to him over a conversation he had over his breakfast. He was planning some crime, so the police came and arrested him because they heard him planning a crime. His fridge was listening to him. You know, so where is it at the point? And political correctness, folks. I mean, they're banning pronouns and all sorts of stuff now. You're not allowed to use he and she in Canada or something now. It's something ridiculous. You know, so when does it get to the point where you can't even construct a sentence without breaking the law? You know, we've got thought crime going on, and you're lying in bed talking to your wife or your husband, and you're having a conversation, your clock radio's listening to you, you've said something the algorithm doesn't like, so it's docked you a couple of social credit points. You go to buy a bus ticket in the morning and you find you're not qualified for the bus ticket because the algorithm said so. That's the way it's going. The social crediting system they've got in China at the moment, there's like, I think there's 7 million people now on China's social credit system. Anyone know how that works? Anyone don't know how that works? What it does is it puts points, it awards you points according to your social profile, what you've been posting on Facebook, what your political views are. And if you say things the government doesn't like, then you're prevented from certain services, which might be things like buying plane tickets, buying high-tier train tickets, shopping, buying certain things at certain supermarkets. You're just not allowed to do this anymore, and there's no appeal process. So that's what they're doing. And when they bring that into Western countries, then people start policing their own thoughts. You don't want to think outside the box. You don't want to say anything that the algorithm might pick up on you, because the algorithm will listen and it will know and it will mark your social credit points accordingly. In China, they've got facial recognition glasses now as well. So they can go and pick anybody out of a crowd. So the algorithm's just got to alert the nearest police officer that Jeff Berwick has done something wrong. The police officer will go and pick him out of the crowd and go and arrest him. The algorithm would have already determined what his sentence is, according to his social credit points, and I'll go and put him in the smart prison. Of course, once he's in the smart prison, it's all about bums on seats. So any step you do out of line up, extra 30 days on your sentence. You know, so this is the way it's going, folks, and this is how they're going to deal with dissent. It'll get to a point where suddenly you can't rent a house because of your social profile. This is the way it's going, and that's why they want it all digital. And with 5G, I mean, when the 5G system's there, I mean, they're saying they want it there so they can run everything in real time. We need the bandwidth, all this sort of stuff. But 5G, everything that you've ever read about with active denial, anything the military's ever done, any of the psychological programs they've got, all of this stuff can be done with 5G. You just go and look at the government's own papers on psychotropic weapons and psychoactive weapons, what they can do. You know, make transparent eyelids, make your eyes itchy, make the soles of your feet itchy, voices in your head, visions in your head, set people up for active denial. You know, because your DNA is coded, they've got everybody, they know who everybody is, they know what your biometric signature is, then they can target individuals for active denial through 5G. And this is another thing they're going to be saying is obsolete by 2020 is passwords, because it's all going to be biometric scanning. And with biometric scanning, they don't need to implant a microchip in you. They can just do it with retinal scans. They can bounce an acoustic wave off your skeleton. It will give them back a bone resonance, which is unique to you, and that becomes your password. So when it's down to that and it's all biometric and they're monitoring everybody and everything they're saying and everything they're doing, then they've got us. They've got us. If it all goes digital and currency all goes digital, then they've got us. And that's where the crypto world falls down. I mean, the crypto guys are really doing a lot of good stuff, and they're really trying to extricate us from the banking system, and that's a really good thing. I mean, we need to be extricated from this banking system. But if they don't factor in the reality that at the moment the world is run by criminals who are controlling the shift into the digital world, then we're going to be screwed as soon as we get in there. Because if currency goes digital and your purchasing power is limited by your social viewpoint, then where do you go from there? There's nowhere you can go, and there's no appeal process. So we don't need to build any new system. We don't need to have the Ubuntu movement or the Venus Project or any of this stuff. We've got a system here already that could work, only we have to constantly step outside our moral compass to comply with it, and that's why it doesn't work. And you think about it, folks, as soon as you start doing the right thing in all that you do, and all your actions are according to your moral compass, this system cannot exist. It simply cannot function in that environment. It only functions now because we're so willing to step outside of our hearts and do whatever we're told. Yes sir, no bags, 3 bags full, sir. And all we're really doing is paying protection money. That's what taxes are, it's protection money. I'll pay my taxes, you go and bomb those guys over there, just leave us alone here. It's all good. You know? And that's what we do. We've got to stop doing it, folks. It's a scam. The whole thing's a scam. You know? And it's like David said, you know, we're voting in this side and this side and this side. We're not looking at the system above it that runs the whole thing. The politicians are just mouthpieces. They're just mechanisms. I mean, Trump is not your friend, folks. Trump is not your friend. I'm sorry to tell the people here who might support Trump. Maybe there isn't anyone here who does. Maybe I'm good there. But the government is not your friend. Trump is just another face on the stage. Trump is offering a new business model to get the world to the same point. It's all going to the same point. It's all going digital. It's all going into this whole social crediting system, all being done to keep us safe from the terrorism that the government creates themselves. And it's a joke, folks. It's really a joke, and we've got to, like coming to these conferences and all the stuff we learn, it's great to come to these conferences and that, but don't think that you've made a difference by coming here. You've got to get the information that you get at these conferences and take it home and apply it to the world that you live in. Make a difference on the ground. Make a difference on the ground where you live, because that's where the real difference is. And I guarantee, folks, if you start opening up to your neighbours and doing things for people, they might think you're a little weird to start with, but you know, they'll open up. They'll open up. They'll realise that you're a human being, and they'll come around eventually. I mean, it's worked for me. You know, I've got so many friends all around the world now, just from being in that state of giving. It really does work, folks. You know, everything this system wants you to do is the opposite of that. They don't want you to give. They want you to view your time as being valuable. They don't want you to perform the art of being you. You know, everything that we've lost is that art of being you. You know, you are an artistic expression of creation. You are a thought in the mind of God, here to be all that you can be and to express yourself to the greatest of your potential with the tools you've been given. And if you think there's something wrong with you, you've got a problem or you've got this or that, that's fine, because that's the perspective that is needed. Otherwise you wouldn't be here. You know, you exist. There's a reason for you to exist, because that perspective is needed, and everybody is valid. You know, and this is what we're doing in our lives, even with this fictional system that they've caught us up in. They've taken everything from us. So now we run through our lives searching for some form of value of ourselves. You know, so many people just want to feel like they have value. They want to feel like they actually mean something. They're not just a little cog in the big machine. Well, guess what? You all do mean something. You know, you're not what this system has told you that you are. Every single one of you is a divine expression of creation that can do incredible things, you know. All of the stuff that enslaves us, all of this mechanism of control that's been put in front of us, it's just an idea. It's just an idea that somebody had and other people agreed to go along with it. Like I said, we just need a different idea, folks. And don't ask permission. Just do it. When you find something that works, just put it into action and do it. You know, I just do that. I just don't care about what they say. I just do it. I've always found it's a lot easier to get forgiveness than permission. So just go ahead and do it, folks. You know, and don't worry about the government. Don't worry about what they say. Just go and do it. You might create a groundswell, and then what are they going to do? They've got to try to control it and say, yeah, we're approving this. We did it. We encouraged him. Try to turn it around for something that they benefit. You know, that's all they do. But we can do it, folks. Just put it into practice. Whatever you can find that's going to help your community and inspire your community, and everybody can do that, folks. Just believe in yourself, and we can change the world. And I think that's about. I'm running out of time, so I'm going to have to cut it short there. But that's pretty all I want. Really, all I want to say. Just believe in yourselves, folks, and we can change this system if we disconnect from it. And the best form of non-compliance. When I do this and say non-compliance, people they think there's a battle they have to go and fight, but they don't. The best form of non-compliance is to step into your heart and do the right thing. Follow the rules of Dharma. Do the right thing in the right way at the right time for the right reason. And if you live your life in a state of unconditional love and service to creation, then you can find the path through that. And service to creation, I've said so many times, it's not service to others at the expense of yourself. Put yourself on an even keel with everybody else. Don't serve others and deplete yourself, but don't serve yourself and deplete others. Put yourself on an even keel, in Lakesh, and we can change the world. Thank you for listening, folks.
是一名莲湖区桃园街道办大同社区西边枫灯小区志愿者。站在镜头前的这名男子，翻越咱们的防护，逃避咱们的隔离，目的动机不详。下面经过我们的劝导教育，这名青年已经认识到自己的错误。
我深切意识到了自己的做法是多么的可笑，一旦出现问题，我就会造成无法挽回的后果。向小区、社区所有工作人员说一声对不起。我前几次翻出的原因是因为，包括这一次原因是因为我家里没有什么吃的了，我要去超市买一些东西吃。但是因为而且在网上买菜就是老抢不到嘛。
首先，在咱们政府的爱心呵护下，昨天给咱们大家2000多户，每家每户都发了蔬菜，你收到了？那为什么你刚才还念了这，还是因为没有吃的，没有蔬菜翻越？咱暂且不说，疫情当下，防护安全人人有责。你今天翻越了我们小区隔离护区，就是在抗拒疫情。国家不会同意，政府不会同意，我们工作者更不会同意。这一次也是在镜头给你一个警告，如果再有一次，我会把你依法交到公安机关处理。